Okay, number 1, we have multiplication, so 5 times 4 we can multiply together to make 20. We have an x to the third times x. That becomes x to the fourth. We would add our exponents. And the x really has an exponent of 1 since it's not written there. And for the y's, negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. Now we're not allowed to leave a negative exponent. So we would turn this into a fraction right now. It's not a fraction, so I'd put it over 1. That which has a negative exponent, so only the y to the negative 2, that's what's going to move. So it'll move down. So the 20x to the fourth will stay up top. The y moves down, its exponent becomes positive when that happens. Now we're finished. 20x to the fourth over y squared. Number 2, we have a to the third in the top and an a in the bottom. We can cancel an a because they both have at least an a. So take away the only a from the denominator, take away one of the a's from the top, so there's still a squared up there. When we looked at the ends, there's 4 in the bottom, 7 in the top. The smaller of those numbers is 4, so I can take away 4 ends from both. Take away 4 ends from the top, there's still 3 left. Take away 4 ends from the bottom, there's none left. At this point, we eliminated the entire denominator. We won't have to write this as a fraction. So all we're left with is a squared into the third. Number 3, into the fifth to the fourth power. Here I have a power raised to a power. This is when you multiply the exponent. So 5 times 4 is 20 into the 20th. Number 4, determine if it's a polynomial. Look at the exponents. 2, 1, 0, they're all non-negative. None of them are anything other than integers, so yes, it is a polynomial. Since it's a polynomial, we can list the degree. That's the largest exponent. So the largest exponent was the 2, so its degree is 2. So it's a polynomial with a degree of 2. The second one, oh, I see the n and n squared. I can simplify that. I can take out an n from the top and an n from the bottom, leaving me with an n in the denominator. Now, here I have variables in the denominators. That makes it not a polynomial, because if I brought them up, I would have a negative exponent. Negative exponents aren't allowed in polynomials, which means I also can't have variables in the denominator. So we would say that this is not a polynomial. And because it's not a polynomial, I do not have to give a degree. So I'm done. Number 6, we're subtracting polynomials, so we just subtract like terms. I would recommend, because it's subtraction, changing it to addition and distribute that sign to all of the terms in that next set of parentheses so you don't forget about it. So combine like terms. 6a squared and negative 4a squared makes 2a squared. You only combine the coefficients. The variable part stays the same. 5a, negative 6a. 5 minus 6 is negative 1, so negative 1a, or just negative a. 10 minus 12 is negative 2. Number 7, we have to distribute. This is a multiplication problem. 3p times np is 3n, and p times p becomes p squared. I always do the variables in alphabetical order, so that's why I have them in that order. And then minus, okay, now 3p times z, there's no common letters or anything, so we just list them all. Minus 3pz. Not like terms, I'm finished. Number 8, it's a multiplication problem, so you can choose to FOIL this, in which case you take x, distribute it, or you can set up the box method if you prefer doing that, a 2 by 3 box. I'll go ahead and do the FOIL. So x times x squared is x to the third. X times 2xy. Well, x times x is x squared, so I get 2x squared y. X times y squared, that's plus x y squared. Remember, I'm going to try to put my variables in alphabetical order. That will help me recognize if I have like terms. Now, minus y times x squared. Minus, I'll put the x squared first, so minus x squared y. Negative y times 2xy, that's negative 2x, and y times y becomes y squared, so xy squared. And then negative y times y squared is negative y to the third. Look for like terms. So I'm going to start with x cubed, and so I have a 2x squared y and a negative x squared y, negative 1x squared y. 2 and negative 1 makes 1, so plus 1 x squared y. I don't have to write the 1, so I could just write plus x squared y. Now my xy squareds, I have a couple of those. A positive 1 and a negative 2. 1 minus 2 is negative 1, so minus an xy squared. Now x squared y and xy squared are different because the variables on the x and the y are not the same. So you can't combine those together. They cannot cancel each other out. And all I have left now is minus y cubed. Oops. Sorry, didn't really mean to do that. Let's try that again. So minus y cubed. There we go. All right, now division, synthetic division. A plus 2, so I'm going to put a minus 2 in my box. A squared has a coefficient of 1. The a has a coefficient of negative 8. The constant is negative 26. There were no missing terms, so no zeros. Drop your first term down as 1. Multiply by the number in the box, it's negative 2. Add these together, you get negative 10. Multiply by the number in the box, you get 20. Add these together, you get negative 6. So your answer, 1. This was an a squared, so we lose 1 degree. So instead of an a squared, it's a to the first, which is just a. So 1a, I don't have to write the 1. And so after that comes the constant, so minus 10. After that is my remainder, so put your remainder of negative 6 in the top. We divided, not by negative 2, but we really divided by a plus 2. That's our denominator. You cannot simplify the 6 and the 2 because you can't divide the a by 2. You can't divide all of it by the same thing, so there's our answer. Number 10, I'm dividing by x minus 4, so 4 goes in the box. My coefficients, x to the 5th has a 1. There is no x to the 4th, so it's a 0x to the 4th. You can't forget that. So x to the 5th, x to the 4th, so x cubed is a negative 4. X squared, that's a positive 4 coefficient. X, there is none, so that's a 0. Constant, there's none of those, so that's a 0 too. It doesn't end with an x or a constant. We have to include all those zeros. Okay, so drop the first number, multiply by the number in the box. Add these together, 0 plus 4 is 4. Multiply by the number in the box, I get 16. Add these together, I get 12. Multiply it by the number in the box, I get 48. Add these, I get 52. Multiply it by the number in the box, I get 208. Add those together, you get 208. Multiply it by the number in the box, I get 832. Add those together and I get a remainder of 832. So now for my answer, I got a little cramped there, sorry. I should have left myself more room. I started with x to the 4th, so I need to start with x to the 4th here. That was x to the 5th, I start with x to the 4th. 1x to the 4th, 4x to the 3rd, 12x squared, 52x, 208 is the constant, and then for the remainder, 832, I divide it by x minus 4, so x minus 4 is the denominator.